Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome you all to your Pakistan Studies class. Today we are going to cover few of the topics of chapter 1, that is history of Pakistan. We are going to cover the political history of Pakistan and we will discuss the different eras, the political eras. So the first one is about Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and the era of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and what reforms were introduced by him during his rule. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto took over the office of the President of Pakistan as well as the civilian martial law administrator on 20th December 1971. First as civilian martial law administrator and then as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto used his unlimited powers to introduce multiple reforms in the country. And some of the reforms introduced by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, we are going to explain it here. The first reforms, these are the economic reforms. Now, in economic reforms, the farmers, he facilitated farmers. Farmers were provided seeds, fertilizers and tractors on financially supported rates. Then the pay and the benefits of the government servants were revised and some uniformity was ensured by introducing in 22 scale. Loan facilities were provided to the employees and then the pensions were increased. The children of the low salary employees were exempted from paying fees at the government regulated educational institutes. And employees' recreational facilities were improved. Okay, in case of the pensioner's death, his widow was entitled to draw the pension. Police employees were also given different kind of benefits. So these are the economic reforms introduced by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Now some of the labor reforms. So the first one was that during the government of the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, labor legislation was enacted for the first time in the history of Pakistan to safeguard the fundamental rights of the workers and to ensure them certain benefits. So the first one was the efforts were made to prevent the exploitation of the working class at the hands of the capitalists. Workers were given free medical care and compensation in case of injury. The labor movements, trade unions were granted more protection. And then the right of the, I'll write it here, the right of overtime. The right of the overtime was given to the workers. An annual bonus equal to 1 month's salary was made compulsory for the laborers. Okay, old age pension and group insurance for the laborers were made mandatory. And then the last thing, they tried their best that the workers were protected against the risks of dismissal on short notice at the hands of the employers. Now, the industrial reforms. These are the industrial reforms implemented by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Okay, the first thing is nationalization. So first we have to understand what does nationalization means. The policy of putting private industries and companies under the control of the government is called the policy of nationalization. A government adopts a policy of taking control of anything that was previously owned by the private individual, then that policy is called the policy of nationalization. I hope you have understood it. Okay. So now, the impacts of nationalization. We are going to discuss the impacts of the nationalization when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto nationalized the industries. And this ordinance was issued on 2nd January 1972. The ordinance of nationalization was issued on 2nd January 1972. Okay, which industries were nationalized? Iron and steel industry, heavy engineering, automobile and tractor assembling in plants, heavy electrical engineering plants, oil and gas refineries, and cement industries. These are some of the industries which were nationalized. Okay. So what were the impacts of nationalization at that time when they implemented this thing? Okay, it gave strength to the economic stability and encouraged industrial development to some extent, but it has some impacts. The positive impact that the government control over the industrial unit helped the government to maintain the prices of the industrial goods. Okay, and the second thing was that industrial institution began to pay all due and taxes to the government, and which increased the income of the national income. Then, okay, there were some negative impacts too. Acha. So the first thing, that the policy of nationalization was carried out with regard to domestic investment only, and foreign enterprises were exempted from this policy. So compared to the domestic investment, foreign enterprises developed more. And secondly, domestic investors were not guaranteed any protection. Therefore, they slowed down the pace of investment in the industrial sector, which in turn slowed down industrial development in the country. So these were some of the positive and negative impacts of nationalization. Then the next thing is life insurance and banking. Nationalization of life insurance companies. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto took two steps in life insurance and banking. One was the nationalization of life insurance company. These were nationalized on March 19, 1972. Okay, the life insurance companies, these were nationalized on March 19, 1972. All these were merged to form the State Life Insurance Corporation in November of the same year. And then the nationalization of the banks, May 19, the presidential order, all the banks operating in the country were nationalized and were put under the control of State Bank of Pakistan on May 9th, 1972. May 19, 1972. And it badly affected the performance of the banking system of the country. Now, some of the educational reforms. So first of all, they nationalized the educational institutes. The educational institutes were nationalized, and the first objective was firstly, like these education institutes with high standards of education, they were left in the private hands, and it widened the class distinction in the education institution. And secondly, the nationalization of the private education institution, the government had to pay the salaries of the teachers or the staff from the national treasury, which was a big financial burden. Okay, these were the impacts of these educational reforms. But when they nationalized educational institutions, so free education was given to the students, was provided by the schools, and then there were some negative impacts of this educational reforms, as I discussed with you. The agriculture reforms. Okay, so first of all, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto introduced these reforms. The first thing was to limit the land ownership. Okay, to limit the land ownership. And irrigated by canals was fixed up to 150 acres, and irrigated by natural rains was up to 300 acres. The land beyond the lease limit was confiscated and distributed among the farmers. Then only landlords were supposed to give the land and water taxes. The farmer was exempted, and the supply of seed was also the responsibility of the owner. And then it was prohibited to force the tenants. It was prohibited to force the tenants to leave land. They were granted only under certain specified conditions. They could be forced to leave their lands. Okay, and then in case of sale of land, the tenant's right to purchase was given primacy. So these were the agriculture reforms. And before the 1977 election, on January 5th, 1977, Bhutto announced a second phase of agriculture and land reforms, but these could not be implemented. This topic is the Constitution of 1973. And here we are going to discuss the major points, the main points of 1973 Constitution. Okay, the Constitution of 1962 was abrogated and martial law was imposed in the country for the second time in 1969 by General Yahya Khan. In 1971, the sad incident of the separation of East Pakistan took place. And there was a great public resentment against the government of President Yahya Khan, who had to resign to make way for Zulfikar Ali Bhutto to take over as an elected representative of people. He came into power in December 1971. In 1973, he was successful in framing the constitution for Pakistan. It was the only constitution of the country on which all the leaders of political parties agreed. Now, these are some of the prominent points of the constitution of 1973. The sovereignty of Allah Almighty, the name of the country, and the Muslim head of the state and the government, it was same like it was in 1956 and 1962 Constitution. Okay, and then like the Constitution of 1956 and 62, the objective resolution has been included in the preamble of the Constitution of 1973. And definitely, according to the preamble, sovereignty over the entire universe belongs to Allah Almighty alone, and the authority which He has delegated to the state of Pakistan through its people for being exercised within the limited prescribed by Him is a sacred trust. Okay, then the written constitution. Like the Constitution of 1962 and 56, 1973 Constitution is also a written document. It is a federal constitution. Okay, and then the Federation of the Pakistan consists of the four and the federal capital. Parliamentary constitution. In 1973 constitution, the 1973 constitution is parliamentary in nature. According to the constitution, National Assembly will have the tenure of 5 years. Okay, and the constitution provides for a parliamentary form of government in the country. According to 1973 constitution, the parliament consists of two houses, bicameral, upper house and lower house. Upper house, it is called Senate, and the lower house, which is called National Assembly. And the representation of the lower house or National Assembly is on population basis, while the representation in the upper house is on the Senate is on the basis of the federating units. All the provinces have given equal representation in the Senate. Then the fundamental rights. In the Constitution of 1973, they provided a detailed list of fundamental human rights. And then the constitutional amendment. The constitutional amendment. The Constitution of 1973 provides a proper procedure for the amendment of the Constitution. A constitutional amendment bill can be initiated in any third majority of the total membership in each house. The Constitution of 1973 is neither too rigid like the Constitution of USA or too flexible like the Constitution of UK. Then the next is independence of judiciary. The Constitution guarantees independence of the judiciary in the country. It lays down strict procedure for the appointment and the removal of the judges of the Supreme Court. Then the direct election, the National Assembly and all provincial assemblies are elected for a period of 5 years. And these representatives are elected by the people directly. According to the Constitution of 1973, Urdu is the national language of Pakistan. And of course, constitution at the same time, Constitution is giving the opportunity to promote or for the promotion of the regional languages in the country too. And then it is an Islamic constitution. Islam has been declared the state religion in the Constitution of Pakistan in 1973. It has been declared essential for the President and the Prime Minister to be Muslims. The official name of the country is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And of course, the 1973 Constitution encourages the practice of Islamic mode of life among the citizens. The Constitution discourages interest and encourages zakat and ushr. So these are the main points of 1973 Constitution. Now we are going to discuss General Ziaul Haq's era and his tremendous efforts for the Islamization. Okay, General Ziaul Haq. On 5th July 1977, General Ziaul Haq overthrew the Bhutto's government and declared martial law in the country. In September 1978, General Ziaul Haq declared himself as the President of Pakistan. He ruled over the country for about 11 years from July 1977 to August 1988. He was killed in an air crash on August 17, 1988. So now let's see his efforts for the Islamization or the Islamic laws in the Pakistan. As you know that the Muslims of the subcontinent, they wanted a separate state so where they can live their life according to the golden principles of Islam. So when Ziaul Haq started the process of Islamization in the Republic of Pakistan, it was a milestone toward the establishment of Islamic system in this country. And most of the people, the majority of the population had desired to see the enforcement of Islamic laws in the country. So the steps which were taken by Ziaul Haq for the enforcement of Islamic laws, these are Zakat and Ushr Ordinance in 1980. On 20th June 1980, Zia promulgated the Zakat and Ushr Ordinance. According to this ordinance, 2.5% of Zakat was deducted from the bank accounts of all the Muslims on the 1st of Ramadan every year. And then this money was distributed among the deserving people by the Zakat Council. And then under this ordinance, 10% of Ushr deduction for annual agriculture production was started in 1983. Zakat ordinance was introduced in 1980 and Ushr in 1983. Okay, Zakat Foundation. In February 1982, the federal government established the National Zakat Foundation, and the objective was the creation of this institution, that training of those deserving zakat so as to end their dependency on zakat. Initially, a sum of 100 rupees were allocated for this purpose. Federal Sharia Court. To accelerate the Islamization process, the 1973 Constitution was amended and Federal Sharia Court was established under the amendment in 1980. And what is the composition of the Federal Sharia Court? Sharia Bench. That Sharia Bench were established in each High Court, consisting of 3 judges. Ulama were appointed as judges in these benches. And then the Appellate Sharia Bench was established in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and it consisted of 3 judges. The powers, the Federal Sharia Court had due powers and could annul any law that is considered un-Islamic. Then Wafaqi Muhtasib. The word Muhtasib is derived from ihtisab, which means accountability. So the Wafaqi Muhtasib is an officer who supervises the observance of laws and investigates the complaints of the people against the government officials. And this Wafaqi Muhtasib was established, the office of the Wafaqi Muhtasib was established in 1981 by General Ziaul Haq. And the tenure of the Wafaqi Muhtasib is 4 years. Its function is to investigate definitely the complaints of the people against the government officials. The office of the Wafaqi Muhtasib is non-political and non-partisan. Non-political means political, neutral, not influenced by political considerations. And definitely they don't belong to any particular political party. And then the Blasphemy Act. In 1973 Constitution, the Constitution of 1973 was amended to effect that anyone found guilty of blasphemy towards the right-guided caliphs, the family of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the companions of the Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they could get up to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment or fine or both. Islamiyat and Pakistan Studies. The federal government made the instruction that both Islamiyat and Pakistan Studies will be taught up to degree level in all the educational institutions. The non-Muslims were allowed to take ethics in place of Islamiyat. Then Ehtaram-e-Ramzan Ordinance was promulgated in 1981 by General Ziaul Haq. And what was this Ehtaram-e-Ramzan Ordinance? Like strictly prohibited smoking, eating, drinking by Muslims in public places. And in 1984, Zia also established the Salat committees. Then Majlis-e-Shura. For developing an effective relationship between the government and the masses, Ziaul Haq established Majlis-e-Shura in 1981, December 1981. There were 50 members in this Majlis-e-Shura, and the most important duty was to suggest steps for the formation of Islamic society in the country. Okay, the last one is interest-free banking. The main objective of the interest-free banking was they wanted to free the economic system from the curse of interest. So Ziaul Haq took certain steps to lead the introduction of interest-free banking in all the banks. So these are some of the points of Islamization process by General Ziaul Haq. Okay, students, we covered few topics today of chapter 1, and inshallah in the next chapter we will discuss the history of political history of Pakistan, some of the prominent leaders of the Pakistan, inshallah. Till then, Allah Hafiz.